Hi, this is Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, Public Affairs NCOIC for 19th ESC. We have another great episode of the Every Soldier Counts podcast for you. We're going to start with an interview with PFC Adji Diagne, who is a 92 Golf with 541st Field Feeding Company. She's an Army cook, and she has an interesting story to tell. She's from Senegal and joined the Army to be a role model for her daughter and to achieve her dream of being a nurse. So we're going to hear from PFC Diagne, and then after the break, we're going to talk with the Equal Opportunity Advisor with 19th ESC, Master Sgt. Joyce White. And stay tuned for both of those right here on the Every Soldier Counts podcast.
Welcome to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast.
Wherever you find American troops today, you find the men of the Transportation Corps. Enough and on time. That's the story we tell you today. The story of the Army Quartermaster Corps.
These youthful servicemen are members of the Army's Military Police Corps.
One of the most important forces behind the lines, the Army Ordnance Corps.
Welcome back to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. Once again, I am Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, the Public Affairs NCOIC for 19th ESC. And today we have an exciting episode. We are welcoming a young soldier in 19th ESC, Private First Class Adji Diagne. She's got an interesting story to tell. We're trying to tell the soldier's story, inviting lots of different leaders and different soldiers, different MOSs on the podcast. So, Private Diagne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sergeant Ross.
And so let's start off a little bit with your background. So, how did you come to join the Army?
I joined the Army to do something new and to serve the United States of America for giving me the opportunity to choose what I want to do and what I want to be in life. And also to show a good example for my daughter so that she knows that she can be anything she wants in life.
And tell me a little bit about that opportunity that was presented to you. So you grew up in Senegal.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your upbringing was like there?
Yeah, I grew up in Senegal. I have high school in Senegal. But over there, you cannot choose what you want to do for your career, compared to the United States, where you can choose to be a nurse or to be an engineer or something. Because there, after high school, they choose for you what area study you're going to do, which was quite different in the United States. I wanted to be a nurse. And also the Army is giving us a good opportunity also for study for free, and also travel. And I love to travel and discover new culture and new area for another open mind.
So it must be exciting for you to be in Korea.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier, so you got here about 6 months ago. So we've been in Charlie for some of that. So are you starting to get to see some of the country now?
Not yet, but I'm planning to be.
Okay, great. And so you said you wanted to be a nurse, but right now, can you talk about what your MOS is and what you do for your job?
I'm a 92 Golf, which is a culinary specialist. We cook in the Army. I also love to cook. That's my second passion beside nursing. But I'm also going to school for my nursing program to become a nurse after the Army.
So right now you're working on a nursing program through tuition assistance?
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. And so you are with 541st Field Feeding Company, heavy hitters, right? And so we've shared several videos from 541st on the 19th ESC Facebook page. And if you've been to any DFAC in Area 4, that's 541st running it. So what can you tell me about what's it like working at a DFAC with the heavy hitters?
It's very exciting. It's very nice to work with 541st at the DFAC. And working with the Koreans, they are helping us a lot. and they're showing us new tactic, new style of cooking, which is very interesting. I also work at Camp Walker, the kiosk, the grab and go. So we cook here at Camp Henry, and then we take it there at Camp Walker. And it's a good experience. I'm learning a lot of stuff.
So did you have much experience with Korean food before you came here?
No.
But you've learned how to cook some of that? Is that what they've...
Yes, Sergeant.
So what's a favorite Korean dish of yours?
Bulgogi, beef bulgogi.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. So have you had a chance to use some of your native cooking, like Senegalese cooking, during your time in the Army?
Yes, Sergeant.
What can you tell me about the food you like to cook from Senegal?
I cooked curry chicken, and everybody loved it when I did it. It's from Senegal, the chicken curry. We also have a peanut butter sauce. I'm planning to try that on, and I hope they're going to like it too. It's a very nice dish from Senegal. You can cook it with fish or chicken or beef.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me. Peanut butter, and so 541st is a diverse unit. If you watch the Super Bowl on AFN, you may have seen this commercial, this video about diversity that our partners at AFN Daegu put together. It was a really impressive commercial that really anyone watching the Super Bowl in Korea would have seen. They would have seen PFC Diagne. And so how does something like that video represent 541st to you?
The diversity in 541st means a lot to me because I get to meet a lot of people from different background, different places, different religion. By the way, I'm a Muslim and I wear hijab. And I never have any problem with my religion. People see you as the person you are and the work you giving to your job, but they don't see you as your religion or your race or anything, which is very nice. And everybody is the same. We are a family.
So talk a little bit more about that experience, like because you might have been maybe the first Muslim a lot of your fellow soldiers have met.
Yes, Sergeant. And African too, from West Africa. So they always want to know more. They always asking questions like, what is it like, the life over there, and how do you pray and stuff like that. And I always happy to tell them about my lifestyle.
And so is Korea your first duty station?
Yes, Sergeant.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what kind of skills you need to be a successful 92 Golf, because there's a lot of such a big responsibility that 19th has running all these defects. So what does a successful 92 Golf look like to you?
Always have hands-on, always ask questions, be hungry to learn more, and volunteer. Don't be afraid to bring your style or ask question.
And you talked earlier about being a role model for your daughter. So your daughter is not with you in Korea, is that right?
No, Sergeant.
And so how do you overcome that kind of communication or distance barrier as a parent?
It's a little bit tough sometimes because of the time difference. It's 17 hours. We are 17 hours ahead of them for in California because she lives in California. But we always talk on the phone, on WhatsApp, video, yeah. And I miss her a lot, yeah, because it's different if she's like next to you and then you see her grow, you teach her some style, some stuff, but yeah, we're managing.
And do you think being a soldier has had an impact on your daughter, seeing you achieve your goals like this?
Yes, Sergeant. She's very happy. Actually, I was there like a few weeks ago to visit them. She was super happy that, and she wanted to try on my uniform, and she was even saying that she want to be a a soldier herself too.
And so, as someone who's also, you mentioned your nursing program, you're going to school. What advice would you give to other soldiers who, have a goal beyond the Army and are working toward it like that? What advice would you give them?
It's possible. It's possible. And the resources are here. The help are here. They have the Ed Center, and they're very helpful. If you go there, they're going to tell you where to go, what to do, all the process that you need to do to be successful in life. That's why I love the Army, because they have a lot of opportunity for you to be successful. If you follow your leaders, they always tell you this is what you need to do this, do that, and then, yes, there is a lot of opportunity to be successful in life beyond the Army.
And what if you had to convince someone to go have a meal at one of your defects today? How would you sell them on it? What dish would you tell them you do not want to miss at one of the defects you work at?
Soul Food Thursday.
Soul Food Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. So what's on the menu for Soul Food Thursday usually?
We usually have ribs, barbecue ribs. They have oxtail. They have corn, and a lot more.
And that's
very delicious.
That's at Henry and at Carroll as well?
Not sure about
Okay. Well, definitely at Henry, definitely at a Sustainer
yes.
Grill. Okay. And we've another thing we've put on the social media recently with 541st is the cooking competitions that 541st is part of. What can you tell me about being involved in those kind of competitions? We have like the DFAC awards you do, and then
yes.
the Kapshi Kapshi Da.
Yes. It's very interesting because you can show your skill and then see your improvement.
And at Thanksgiving this year, were you involved in the Thanksgiving services?
Yes.
So that's kind of like, speaking of the Super Bowl, that's kind of like the 92 Golf's Super Bowl. So what can you tell me about the preparation that goes into all the decorations and the food service for Thanksgiving?
It was very nice. I really enjoyed it. And we spent the night decorating the DFAC and cooking, putting a lot of different meal. So that was very nice, very interesting. And the turkey cake we made with our sergeant, it was a good experience.
That was at Sustainer Grill on Henry, right?
Yes.
And so for those who weren't there, it fooled me because I was there taking pictures. I walked in, it looked like a turkey, but it was a cake.
Yes,
it looked just like a turkey, but they slice it and it's cake in there. So the theme of that at Henry was like the 80s or 70s and 80s, or it was like throwback.
Yes.
It was like, so how does do all the soldiers have input into that, what the decorations are going to be like, what the theme's going to be like?
Yes, Sergeant.
And there was a ice sculpture there, and I know I've heard that at your AIT they actually teach you how to do ice sculptures. Is that right, or is that? Do you know how to do an ice sculpture?
Not yet, Sergeant.
Okay, so that's something you learn later on, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You learn during the process. That's why I say it's very interesting to work at the DFAC, because you learn every day. You learn something new. You learn something new every day. You learn from the Koreans. You learn from your sergeant. It's very interesting. Yeah.
And so, who at 541st do you think is the expert on ice sculptures? Do you have a soldier over there who's the SME on it?
Not that I would know.
Okay. I'm just kind of fascinated by it because I've seen those, and I saw the one at Camp Henry.
Yeah.
It looked really good. What else are you looking forward to the rest of this year? Do you have any other goals you're trying to achieve before you leave Korea?
If I'm trying to be an NCO before I leave Korea, to be a sergeant, E5.
And so, what are you doing to achieve that goal?
School. And doing a lot of correspondence courses, classes that we take every month. We're trying to do as much as possible after work.
Last question. So you come from non-traditional background into the Army, what would you tell someone else who's maybe thinking about joining the Army but maybe doesn't think that they, are the typical recruit? What would you tell them?
I would recommend anybody to join the Army because it's a lot of opportunities. You learn a lot. Every day is a learning. And if you want to graduate for your college, it's the best way to go because they pay for your school. You don't have to repay for student loan or anything like that. And you're going to be more open-minded because you're going to travel around the world and see other people, meet different. Even if you don't travel overseas, you will work with people who are from Senegal like me, who can teach you something from there, or people are from Philippines, from China, from South Korea, and then you're gonna interact with them and they're gonna teach you a lot. And people are very friendly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the Every Soldier Counts podcast, PFC Diagne, and good luck the rest of your tour. Good luck. Hope you can get promoted to sergeant, like you said. So thanks again to PFC Diagne for stopping by the 19th ESC podcast studio and being our guest here on the Every Soldier Counts podcast. Coming up next, we have an interview with Master Sgt. Joyce White, the Equal Opportunity Advisor for 19th ESC, and we're going to talk to her about the Army Equal Opportunity Program. So stay tuned for that right here on the Every Soldier Counts podcast.
This is First Lieutenant James Rainey with the 19th ESC Surgeon Cell. Remember to continue following the core tenets. Protect yourself by staying ready and resilient. Have a proper work and life balance. Protect your bubble by minding the meter and mask at the ready. Avoid large groups and crowds. Protect others. Feeling sickly? Leave quickly. Call the USFK COVID hotline if you feel any symptoms. This number is 050-3337-2556.
Welcome once again to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. Once again, I am Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, Public Affairs NCOIC for 19th Expeditionary Sustainment Command. I am proud to welcome Master Sergeant Joyce White, the Equal Opportunity Advisor for 19th ESC. Did I get that right, sir?
No, you did not.
Okay, I'll let you correct me. What is your official title?
Okay, so the official title as of July of last year is MIO, Military Equal Opportunity. So
MIO. Okay.
Right.
All right, so we have the Command MIO for 19th ESC. And great to have you here in the studio here on Camp Henry. So Master Sergeant White, tell me a little bit about what brought you into the Army before you were a MIO. Tell me a little about Private White, Specialist White.
Okay, so I joined in 98, probably like a lot of mid-age personnel. I was 25 when I joined, right? So I got a late start. Come from a small town in Mississippi where the employment rate, we didn't have a lot going on. So I figured, hey, I have to do something. Wasn't that eager to continue with college after graduating high school. So I saw this opportunity to join the Army, and if I decide to change my decision to partake in college, then hey, that opportunity will be there. So 22 years later, here I am.
Okay, sounds good. And I started a little bit later than I was 27 when I enlisted. Okay. All right. So you weren't always a MIO, though. I keep saying EO. What was your initial?
So by trade, I was a 71 Lima, and I converted over to a 42 Alpha, which is human resource. So.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about the Equal Opportunity Program and what differs now that it's MIO, if at all.
Okay. So the Equal Opportunity Program is a commander's program. However, the MIO personnel is here to assist the commanders to formulate a comprehensive effort to maximize human potential, ensure fair treatment for all soldiers is based solely on, merit, performance, and potential.
Okay. And what does that mean? If you were to explain that, maybe take it out of military terms, how would you?
To make sure everyone is treated equally. Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that's the intent. So no one is better than the next person based off of their background, what color they are, what religion they are. You understand what I'm saying?
Definitely. So how do we achieve that goal then? How do you help 19th ESC achieve that goal?
We achieve that goal by encouraging everyone to be on the same playing field. That's why what I think makes the Army so unique is because we have personnel from all walks of life, and we bring different perspectives to the table, which makes us, a better Army. Definitely,
yeah. And so there's been some changes recently, and you mentioned the update to the policy. You were telling me before that one of the things that's kind of in the past is like the months of emphasis.
Yes, the monthly observances. For the MEO team, we have one observance that we are responsible for, and it's the Army Heritage Month, which is in June, same month as the Army's birthday. However, that's not saying that unit commanders cannot host the monthly events, observances, right? But the takeaway from this is if they do one observance, just need to make sure that they do all of them.
So you're either all in or you don't do any.
Correct.
And before, though, everyone was required to do?
So beforehand, we would receive the tasking from 8th Army, and we would task out the units in Area 4, which observance each unit will be responsible for. But as of right now, that's no longer the case. We just have that one that we are responsible for.
So EO is responsible for Army Heritage Month.
Correct. So today we actually was supposed to have an IPR, and what we did was the intent was to meet up with the EOLs from Area 4, so everyone would have a buy-in, have a voice as to what events we want to put on. And the intent for the event in June is to have an event at Camp Walker as well as one in Camp Carroll.
And so what would you tell a commander who wants to do the monthly observances, like wants to observe Black History Month, Native American?
Just remember that we are an inclusive program. We don't want to exclude anyone. So if you're going to do one, like I said before, just ensure that you're doing all of them.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about, are there any misconceptions maybe about being a MEO?
Yes, there are quite a few, but the one that's that I've heard is whenever there's something about EEO, right, which is for the civilians, they automatically assume that it's for the EO. We're for green suitors and family members. Another one is a lot of soldiers assume that it is a quick process if you want to file a complaint. That's far from the truth. With the new updates to the regulation, the process is 60 days. And if there's an extension, there's another 30 days. So we just have to be patient and allow the process to work.
And you also help with the command climate survey, right?
That is correct. And that's another thing that the equal opportunity leaders can assist with, just advertising, making the soldiers aware that, hey, our commander's survey is coming up. We would like feedback to ensure that we're letting the commander know what's going right, what's going wrong with the unit, so we can make this a better organization.
And so most soldiers, they've gotten an email about, command climate survey, or gone to maybe a group setting where there's a command climate survey. What's the importance of everyone getting involved with that?
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, are you talking about focus groups or actual command
Maybe
climate?
let's talk about maybe the difference between those.
Okay, so with the command climate assessment, the units have to have at least 16 personnel to actually complete the survey. Now, we do have some smaller units, whereas they don't meet that criteria. They don't get 16 personnel to complete the survey. So that's where we go in and we, with the okay from the commander, of course, that we facilitate focus groups. And what that is the same thing. It's just we're pulling the same data that the commander is requesting from the DEOCs, but they just didn't get it from the soldiers from that command climate assessment. Another thing is the command climate assessment is not mandatory. However, it is strongly encouraged. This is your unit. You should always want to make it a better place. So it's not a forced action. They should want to make sure their unit is top notch, So in what better way to provide your commander that information, because they are only one person. They can't be everywhere all the time.
So could you talk about a positive change that you've seen during your time as a MEO, maybe that you've helped contribute to the culture?
Yes. When I first got here, there was a lot of conflicts between different ranks. And for the most part, what I saw was the root of the problem was a breakdown in communication. And although we try to emphasize the use of resolving conflicts at the lowest level, with EO, the lowest level could be mediation, as opposed to going the route of doing informal complaints or actual formal complaints. And the mediation is just 3 personnel sitting down, allowing one person to talk, get their grievances out, and allow the second person to listen and respond. And out of all the mediations, that's basically what it was, a misunderstanding.
And so in those situations, you act kind of like a middle person? Like
I was a mediator, and I loved every minute of it, because that's a great thing to see 2 people that have a issue resolve it right there in front of you.
And so what would you tell a leader, something to take out of those meetings, like so that it doesn't have to come to the MEO being involved in it? Is there like kind of a common denominator in those miscommunications?
I think a lot of times it's sometimes people listen to respond as opposed to listen to understand. And I think if we utilize that concept of listening to understand what that individual is saying, it'll go a long way,
And so you're also involved in the EOLC, the Equal Opportunity Leadership course. Is that what it's?
Close. Leaders course, yes.
And you were recommending that I go to it.
Of course.
So what do soldiers get out of that?
Okay, they get a basic understanding of the EOLC. So it's offered to E5 promotables all the way up to first lieutenants. And I think those are some very great ranks to where they're starting off in their leadership roles. So if they get the basic understanding of what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, I'm pretty sure they can spread that knowledge down to their junior soldiers. And it just spreads like wildfire. Knowledge is power. You don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But if service members were to attend that course, they would very much enjoy it. We have a course running from 23 February until 3 March. We have 2 more courses for this fiscal year. We have one in April, 1 to 9 April. And our last one for this fiscal year will be from 8 July to 16 July. So definitely get your packet in.
And so you mentioned solving problems at the lowest level, the mediating, but of course there's always going to be those problems that need your attention to escalate it, to build a case. Is that?
Yeah, so with that is we're only the middle person. We do intakes. And once that's done, once we do the intake, we push that off to the respective unit commander of that complainant. And they process it from there by appointing an IO. And then the process starts from there.
And so it's obviously it's not like Sharp where can you have a restricted report or unrestricted?
It's just formal and informal. But however, with the new updates, previously, an informal complaint could be taken by EOL. However, with the new updates, informal complaints or process the same as formal complaints. And if an individual who wishes to pursue a complaint and they come to see either the MEO or the commander, then it's tracked into our database. And it goes into a report that we submit up to 8th Army.
And so an investigating officer, that would be someone from outside the unit?
It depends on the commander who they decide is going to facilitate that investigation, and that's driven based off of the rank also. So,
okay, but so any complaint within 19th ESC would come to you first?
So if the soldier wishes to come to us to file a complaint, it starts with us, correct, and then it goes up to the unit.
And right now, when you say us, is it just you, or are there other soldiers?
Okay, so there's 4 personnel in our office. We have a Catoosa PFC Lee. We have the Garrison EOA, who is Sergeant First Class Rivera, and we have Sergeant First Class Negron and myself for the 19th. Sergeant First Class Negron also is working for MSCK as well.
And you're all located?
We're located 1650 across from Navy Federal in the DMC building, 2nd floor, room 240.
Here on Camp Henry?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And so if someone wanted to get a hold of you, other than coming to your office, if they're like on Camp Carroll,
So we have flyers everywhere, all up and through Area 4. But if they need to get in touch with us, they can call us at DSN 763-4232 or 763-4040.
Okay. And what would you say? Let's. You mentioned you were spent a long time as a 42 Alpha, and then you became a MEO. What would you say to a soldier who was interested in becoming a MEO or wanted to, maybe thinks they might be a good candidate for it?
I think they should definitely go for it, because at the end of the day, I did this to become a change agent. I want to see change. I want to see us move forward in the right direction. So if that's their mindset, they want to bring about change, then definitely start with EOLC and work your way up.
Okay, excellent. And so unfortunately, you're not going to be with us too much longer here in Korea, but could you tell me, what was one of your favorite memories about being here in Area 4?
The observances. I was a MEO in my previous unit. I was a solo MEO, and they were pretty good. But it's like when you come to a different place, you have different ideas, and I just really enjoyed the observances here. They were very intriguing, interesting. The soldiers definitely were creative here, so that was one of the things I enjoyed about being here. One other thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to let you all know that we also have anonymous drop boxes located at Camp Carroll, Camp Walker, as well as Camp Henry. So right there for those soldiers who can't get up and come to Camp Henry to see us, we also have those anonymous drop boxes, and We have a QC code where soldiers can also just scan it with their phones, and it connects them to a page for USFK, and they can fill out an anonymous complaint online. So
sounds good. Technology
that is
helping
best.
it. All right. Well, thanks again, Sergeant White, for coming by the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. Until next time, I am Staff Sergeant Adam Ross, reminding you that every soldier counts. And thanks to Master Sgt. White for stopping by, and thanks for listening to the 19th ESC Every Soldier Counts podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to our podcast yet, please do that on the Apple Podcast app or Spotify so you won't miss an episode. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Every Soldier Counts podcast.